All right, so let's jump into something that I think is becoming super important for anyone who's tackling these UPSC exams.
Yeah,
Cybersecurity.
absolutely.
And we're not just talking about, you know, protecting your Instagram or your Facebook account here.
Right.
This is about national security,
Yeah.
economic stability, the whole 9 yards. And
Okay.
it's popping up everywhere in both prelims and mains.
It's everywhere you look.
So buckle up, folks.
Exactly. And I think to really get a handle on this whole complex landscape,
Yeah.
we're going to be unpacking this key report,
Okay.
the Global Cybersecurity Outlook 2025 by the World Economic Forum.
The WEF.
Yes,
Big players, global stage.
absolutely.
So what makes this report so important for our deep dive today?
Where I think what's so interesting about this is it goes beyond just, identifying those cyber threats.
Right.
It actually connects the dots between things like geopolitical tensions, weaknesses in technology, and even these emerging biosecurity risks that are cropping up.
Okay, hold on. Biosecurity risks.
Yeah.
That sounds like something straight out of like a sci-fi thriller.
Yeah, it kind of does.
So how does that tie into cybersecurity?
Well, it's fascinating, really. I mean, if you think about some of the recent attacks, like the U.S. water utility incident that happened in 2024,
Right.
or how Costa Rica's entire government was crippled by cyber attacks back in 2022,
Yeah.
these weren't just, isolated events.
Right.
I think they show a trend of targeting critical infrastructure, those systems that keep our societies running.
Yeah, and it's interesting too with like the backdrop of the Russia-Ukraine war, right?
Absolutely.
It's clear that international conflicts can easily spill over into cyberspace.
Oh, yeah.
But where does all of this play into India's position on the global cybersecurity stage?
Well, it's interesting you asked that because India's actually earned Tier 1 status in the latest Global Cybersecurity Index,
Okay.
which basically means that we're being recognized for taking concrete steps towards securing our digital infrastructure.
So we're doing something right.
We're doing something right, but
Okay. But don't think for a second that we're out of the woods here.
so even with this Tier 1 status, there's still challenges that we need to be aware of.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The report highlights some vulnerabilities, particularly with our critical infrastructure.
Okay.
Many of these systems are still using outdated technology,
All right.
making them easy targets for sophisticated attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And, as we become more reliant on interconnected systems, so things like smart cities, Internet of Things,
Right.
the potential for damage only increases.
It's like trying to defend a city with a wooden wall when everyone else has moved on to steel and concrete, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, there's this massive global cybersecurity skills gap.
Okay.
We're talking about a shortage of millions of qualified professionals.
Wow.
And without that right expertise, it becomes much harder to defend against these increasingly complex attacks.
And especially with phishing and social engineering attacks on the rise,
Oh, absolutely.
which, target people directly.
It doesn't matter how strong your digital walls are if someone opens the gate for the attackers.
That's a great point. It really
Right.
is about the human element as well.
Yeah.
That's why investing in cybersecurity training and awareness isn't just a technical necessity.
Yeah.
It's vital for national resilience.
Uh-huh.
We need a workforce that can not only defend our systems, but also educate others on how to stay safe online.
Right.
So it's a really big issue.
Okay, so we've got vulnerable infrastructure,
Yeah.
we've got a shortage of experts,
Yeah.
and increasingly clever attackers.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of painting a bleak picture here.
It is a little bit.
But you mentioned something earlier that really piqued my interest.
Okay.
Biosecurity.
Yes.
How does that fit into all of this?
This is where things get particularly interesting
Okay.
and potentially concerning.
Hear it.
As we're making advancements in AI genetic engineering biotechnology,
Right.
we're opening up this whole new set of risks.
Uh-huh.
So imagine a cyber attack targeting a biolab, potentially disrupting research or even jeopardizing safety protocols.
Now, that's a chilling thought.
It is.
Are there any real-world examples of this actually happening?
Unfortunately, yes.
I don't know.
In 2024 alone, there were attacks on biolabs in South Africa and the UK. And the World Health Organization has even issued warnings about the potential for cyber attacks to disrupt essential health services and research.
So this is something that we really need to pay attention to.
This is a new frontier in cybersecurity and one we need to pay close attention to.
Absolutely.
Welcome back. So far, we've painted a pretty stark picture
Yeah.
of the whole cybersecurity landscape.
It's not looking too good.
It's not all doom and gloom.
Oh, okay.
The WEF report doesn't just highlight the problems. It also
Okay.
offers solutions.
Okay, good, because Frankly, I was getting a little anxious over here.
I understand.
So what can we actually do about all these threats?
Well, the key takeaway, I think, is that cybersecurity is not just about reacting to threats.
Okay.
It's about building resilience. Think of it like you're building a strong immune system
Okay.
for our digital infrastructure.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
But how do we actually build that immune system for our digital world?
Well, it starts with moving beyond the idea that prevention is enough.
Okay.
So things like, strong passwords, multi-factor authentication,
Right.
regular software updates, those are all crucial.
Right.
But we also need to be prepared for when breaches inevitably happen.
So it's about having a plan B,
Exactly.
like a well-rehearsed fire drill,
Yeah,
but for cyber attack.
exactly. We need robust crisis management frameworks,
Okay.
clear communication channels,
Uh-huh.
the ability to restore critical services quickly.
And that's where these strategic investments come in.
That is precisely where they come in.
So when you say strategic investments, what do you mean?
Well, first and foremost, we need to modernize those legacy systems.
Okay.
Many critical infrastructure sectors are still running on outdated technologies
Right.
that are incredibly vulnerable. Upgrading those systems is essential to make them more resilient to attacks.
It's like trying to defend a medieval castle against a modern army. You
Exactly.
need to update your defenses if you're going to stand a chance.
Precisely. And it's not just about technology. It's
Yeah.
also about investing in people.
Okay.
Remember that cybersecurity skills gap we talked about?
Yeah.
We need to address that by creating specialized training programs,
Uh-huh.
offering certifications,
Right.
and encouraging more people to enter the field.
So we need to build like an army of cybersecurity experts
Yes.
ready to defend our digital fortresses.
Exactly.
But this sounds like a massive undertaking.
It is.
Who's ultimately responsible for making all of this happen?
Well, the report highlights the importance of public-private collaborations.
Okay.
Governments need to take the lead setting clear cybersecurity standards and regulations,
Right.
but they can't do it alone.
Right.
Businesses also need to step up investing in security measures,
Uh-huh.
sharing information about potential threats.
So it's a team effort.
It really is.
Governments set the rules.
Yeah.
Businesses play by those rules.
Yeah.
And they work together to stay ahead of the bad guys.
Exactly. And this collaboration needs to extend beyond national borders as well.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Because cyber threats don't respect geographical boundaries.
Absolutely.
So
International cooperation is essential for tackling them effectively.
global forums like the UN and the G20
Yes.
could be key for setting some of these cybersecurity norms
Absolutely.
and helping emerging economies strengthen their defenses.
It's a global issue.
Because a weak link anywhere
Yeah.
can compromise the whole system.
Precisely. And let's not forget the role of individuals.
Oh, right.
Each of us has a part to play
Okay.
in building a more secure digital world.
So what can the average person do?
Simple things like being aware of phishing scams,
Okay.
practicing good password hygiene,
Right.
reporting suspicious activity,
Right.
those can make a big difference.
Okay, so it's a multi-layered approach.
Yeah.
We need to invest in technology. Invest in people. Get governments and businesses working together.
Yep.
Foster international cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
Encourage individual responsibility.
It's a big task.
It's a lot.
It is.
But how does all this translate to India specifically?
Right.
What's our current cybersecurity framework like?
Well, India has actually taken significant steps in the right direction.
Okay.
We have key legislations like the Information Technology Act 2000
Right.
and the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023,
Okay.
which provide a legal framework for cybersecurity.
So we have the laws in place,
We do.
but who's actually enforcing those laws
Right.
and coordinating our cybersecurity efforts?
Well, we have several key institutions dedicated to this task.
Okay.
The Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, or CERT,
Okay.
plays a crucial role in responding to cyber incidents
Uh-huh.
and issuing security advisories.
Okay.
And then there's the National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center, or NCIPC,
Right.
which focuses on protecting those critical sectors.
It's like power grids and transportation systems.
And are there any specific initiatives or programs
Yes.
aimed at strengthening our cybersecurity posture?
Absolutely. We have the National Cybersecurity Policy 2013,
Okay.
which outlines our overall vision and strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2024, we conducted the FARET National Cybersecurity Exercise,
Right.
which was this large-scale drill to test our preparedness and response capabilities.
Wow, that's impressive.
It was a big exercise.
But I imagine there are also sector-specific regulations as well,
You're absolutely right.
because the cybersecurity needs of, say, the financial sector
Right.
are likely quite different from those of, say, the telecommunications industry.
Exactly. So we have things like the cybersecurity framework for SEBI-regulated entities,
Okay.
which set cybersecurity standards for organizations in the securities market.
Uh-huh.
And there are the critical telecommunication infrastructure rules 2024,
Okay.
which are focused on protecting our communication networks. So it seems like India has a fairly robust cybersecurity framework in place
It does seem that way.
with laws, institutions,
Yep.
strategic initiatives, and sector-specific
It
regulations.
seems to cover all the bases.
But I'm curious, what does the WEF report say about India's approach?
Right.
Are there any areas where we could improve?
Well, the report acknowledges India's progress
Okay.
and its Tier 1 status in the Global Cybersecurity Index,
Uh-huh.
but it also highlights some areas for improvement.
Like what?
One key area is closing that cybersecurity skills gap.
Right.
We need to train more professionals
Right.
to meet that growing demand.
And how do we actually achieve that?
Right.
It's not just about creating training programs, is it?
No, it's not just about creating them.
It's also about attracting talented individuals to the field,
Absolutely.
making those programs accessible.
We need to promote cybersecurity as a viable and rewarding career path,
Right.
offering competitive salaries, opportunities for growth.
Ah.
We also need to make cybersecurity education more accessible,
Okay.
perhaps by incorporating it into school curricula
Right.
or providing more online courses.
What about research and development?
Yes,
Are we doing enough to stay ahead of the curve in terms of cybersecurity technology?
that's a critical point.
Because the attackers are constantly innovating,
They are.
finding new ways to exploit vulnerabilities.
Absolutely. So we need to invest more in cybersecurity research and development,
Okay.
foster innovation in areas like threat detection, data protection, and incident response.
Right.
We should also explore collaborations with international research institutions and cybersecurity companies
Yeah.
to really tap into that global expertise.
So it's about staying ahead of the game,
Yeah,
anticipating threats before they even emerge.
exactly.
And I imagine this is especially important in the context of emerging technologies
Yeah.
like AI, quantum computing.
Absolutely.
These have the potential to revolutionize our lives.
They do.
But they also come with new cybersecurity risks.
Huge risks.
So we need to be proactive in addressing those risks,
We do.
developing cybersecurity solutions tailored to these emerging technologies.
Absolutely. For example, we need to ensure that AI systems are secure and resilient,
Okay.
protecting them from manipulation or misuse.
Right.
And we need to start preparing for the potential impact of quantum computing on cryptography,
Okay.
which could render our current encryption methods obsolete.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. All right, welcome back to the show.
Back again.
You know, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive,
A lot.
from the global cybersecurity landscape all the way to India's framework.
Absolutely.
Talked about threat solutions,
Yeah.
the need for constant vigilance and all that.
It's a big topic.
It is a big topic, but before we wrap up, I kind of want to zero in on what all this means for you as a UPSC aspirant.
Right, because this isn't just about theoretical knowledge.
Right.
It's about applying it strategically in those exams. So remember, those UPSC examiners aren't just looking for facts and figures. They
Yeah.
want to see that you understand the complexities of these issues like cybersecurity
Right.
and that you can analyze them from different angles.
Okay, so how can we translate all this information into, like, Killer Main's answers?
Yeah.
What are the key points that we really need to hit?
Well, there are a few keywords I think to keep in mind.
Okay.
Critical infrastructure,
Okay.
resilience,
Uh-huh.
international cooperation,
Right.
public-private partnerships.
Sure.
These are themes that I think the examiners are going to be looking for, but remember, don't just throw these terms around.
So we need to back them up with concrete examples.
Exactly. Use those cyberattacks that we talked about,
Right.
the U.S. water utility,
Uh,
Costa Rica, the biolabs,
Yeah.
to illustrate that vulnerability of critical infrastructure and the potential fallout from these attacks.
okay.
And don't forget to tie in India's specific context as well.
Right.
So mention those legislations, institutions, initiatives we've been talking about,
Yeah.
highlighting both the strengths and weaknesses of our cybersecurity framework.
So it's about connecting those global trends
Yeah,
to the Indian context.
absolutely.
But how can we really make our answers stand out?
Right.
What's going to impress those examiners?
This is where your analytical skills really come in.
Okay.
Can you identify the gaps in our current approach?
Right.
Can you suggest potential solutions?
Okay.
Can you draw parallels between India's experience and those global trends? Those are the insights that'll elevate your answers and show that you've really grasped the material.
It's like taking those puzzle pieces of information
Yeah,
and putting them together to form a clear picture.
exactly.
I bet having some potential main questions in mind would help us practice that.
Absolutely. Think about questions like,
Okay.
assess the role of international cooperation in combating cyber threats, or analyze the challenges and opportunities in securing India's critical infrastructure in the digital age.
Right.
Those questions demand more than just regurgitating facts.
Right.
They require that critical thinking,
Uh-huh.
the ability to see the bigger picture.
So we've got our keywords,
Yeah.
our real-world examples,
Yep.
our potential mains questions to practice with.
Exactly.
Any final thoughts before we sign off?
Just remember that WEEF report focuses on 2025,
Right.
but technology is always evolving.
Right.
So what new cyber threats might emerge in the years to come?
Yeah.
How will AI, quantum computing,
Yeah.
other emerging technologies reshape this whole cybersecurity landscape?
Yeah.
These are questions that, future policymakers are going to need to grapple with. So
Yeah. It's fascinating.
stay curious,
Yeah.
stay informed,
Learning never stops.
never stops, especially in a field like cybersecurity.
To all our UPSC aspirants out there,
Yes.
keep exploring,
Keep learning.
keep questioning,
Yeah.
and
It's an exciting field.
yeah, the world of cybersecurity is constantly evolving.
Absolutely.
You need to stay ahead of the curve if you're going to be an effective leader.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of cybersecurity.
It was a pleasure.
We hope you found it insightful and helpful for your UPSC preparations.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives on crucial topics.
Subscribe, like.
And a big shout out to Down to Earth, whose reporting formed the basis for today's discussion.
Absolutely great resource.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and best of luck with your exams.
Best of luck.